So, How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way put together a bunch of drawing lessons in a fun and exciting way. So, instead of just picking up a boring textbook and looking at, the scale of the human body and how to draw this and that and gesture drawing and all that stuff, what better way to learn it than to use comic book characters to teach it? And of course, with the fun commentary of Stan Lee and the exciting and marvelous art of John Buscema, it was, it blew me away. So the first thing I loved about it is what I said, the awesome drawings. So dynamic, so cool. The penciling is beautiful. The dynamic composition is great. Every chapter is done like this, where you have a classic character jumping off the page, telling you what's coming next. I loved it. So being able to use that kind of art really informed me as an artist when I was trying to learn how to draw, what was expected in a drawing. And so I've mimicked this style forever, ever since. The next thing that was so beneficial to me from this book is the lessons were simple. Things were very basic and clear. It was written for my tiny brain so I could follow along, and it's visual heavy, right? So little doodles and sketches explaining the process of, for example, drawing Sue Storm's head and figuring out the proportions, or perspective. This was my first lesson on perspective. How to draw a building. Why do we need to learn to draw a building? Well, because when you got to have Spider-Man swinging around the building, that's why. So that made sense to me. And just again, looking at the simple drawings they had, the way it was explained made perfect sense to me. What's interesting, right, is a lot of these artists that worked for Marvel in the 60s and the 70s that I grew up, idolizing, they learned in a traditional art school. So they had this great artistic background that they then brought into comics, which they thought maybe wasn't such a big deal. It was just kind of pulp, uh, unimportant comics. I mean, it was kind of a step down from the art world. What's crazy to me, though, is they were so good at it, so much better than the fine artists of their day. So, cool characters. Who doesn't want to see cool characters showing you how to draw? So here you've got Cap, Doctor Doom, The Thing. It's full of those classic 60s, 70s characters that were popular back in the day. And of course, they're drawn in dynamic form with the great pencil lines and the pencil marks to make them really stand out. And so in my head, this is just how I see drawing.